to another amazing episode of Austin Underground. I'm Melody.
And I'm Sarah. This week we'll be reflecting on the Neighborhood's career, discussing international artists, delving into the growth of hyperpop, and we'll have some cozy time with some of our members. Before we begin, let's roll the intro.
As always, let's kick things off with some music news. TV network A&E is making a documentary about legendary musician James Brown that will be produced by Questlove and Mick Jagger. The documentary will be 4 parts and is set to release in 2023. In addition to interviews, there will also be never-before-seen archive footage, so I'll be on the lookout for that.
Sounds like it'll be good. European singing competition Eurovision has announced that it will allow Russia to compete in the 2022 competition. In a statement to NPR, the show's organizers said that Eurovision is not a political event, but they will continue to monitor the situation in Ukraine closely.
Singers Ollie Murs, most famous for the song Troublemaker, has announced that he is canceling his UK tour after having knee surgery. He will be able to be in rehab for 6 months, so fans will be refunded for the show that they have bought tickets for.
The drummer of Austin Spoon, Jim Eno, has been working in his studio in Austin the past year with artists like Gina Chavez and other female and non-binary artists to raise the ratio of female and non-binary producers in the music industry. The project is called Project Traction and the team will produce 8 songs that will eventually be put on an album, with their first single being released next week.
On February 25th, the Foo Fighters released their debut album, film called Studio 666. The movie follows the band as they try to create their 10th album in a haunted house. The movie features original songs and is playing in movie theaters around Austin if you want to check out the latest Foo Fighter project.
The Neighborhood are going on a hiatus to discuss the band's career. Let's go to Jimena, Mal, and Nastasia for their thoughts.
Hey guys!
Hey.
So we are all huge Neighborhood fans, is that correct?
Yes.
Very true, very true.
So to kick off them being in a hiatus, I guys that's not a happy thing, but we'd like to go over their career kind of as a whole, talk about our favorite parts of it. So to start off, what are some of you guys' favorite Neighborhood songs of all time?
Mine, what got me into them, I know it sounds like really basic, but it was Sweater Weather. I
yeah,
remember
of
like
course.
being like 13 and like being on Tumblr and be like, okay, wait, what is this song? This is such a good song. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I remember being introduced to them in that way, like just hearing it on the radio really and being like, oh, this is really good. But when I had found them through that, like I got into their, I think it was Wiped Out, like that album back then, and
So
that's
good.
always been like a huge favorite of me, just because I think I liked that when I was 13, and you know, you like the stuff that you liked when you were really young, so.
So are you guys saying you only liked them when you were 13?
No,
or
I
like
still
you're-
like
no,
them.
seriously?
No,
and that's
Yes,
probably why they're
a
going on a
fan.
hiatus. Like
Yeah.
their fans have gotten too old or something
no,
for
we've
them.
stayed fans. They're fans when we were
Yeah,
13.
their most
okay,
recent
followed
album.
them. Yes.
It was so good. Like
Okay.
it had Pretty Boy, it had Devil's Advocate, it had like Silver Lining. It was so good. It had so many good hits. Like the way that they literally like turned into an entire, not different genre, like we're able to like give you a new like image, a new like sound in a way.
Like they were able
So
to evolve
good.
over time, and I
Yes.
think that's why their fans who found them when they were 13 are still their fans now, or at least
Okay.
maybe that's our case.
Yes.
But
I mean,
loyal.
I'm not trying to argue with y'all. I completely agree. But I think some of my favorite songs come from their least popular albums. Like hashtag I Can't Even with French Montana. Love it.
Very.
Daddy Issues.
Yes.
Devil's Advocate, you mentioned that one. That's a top.
Literally.
But I think we were discussing off the camera their music videos. Like how creative they are, especially with I think their latest or like last project.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys want to talk about the music videos?
It was like very like storyline driven and like very plot driven, and it was like featuring his like girlfriend, and it was so like nice, and it was so cute. It was like it gave you like what the music video like what the music was giving you in your head whenever you were listening to the album, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. And I love the whole like Chip Chrome persona that he came up with and he's like stuck to, like even on like Instagram and stuff. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I like the whole paint and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Like at first I was like, what is this? Because I would follow them on Instagram and everything, and then like from one day to the next I was like, what? So like,
I know.
yeah, I did trust the process. I don't know if I was the biggest fan of that project though, I will say.
Really?
But I think they had like a single before they said they were going on hiatus. Did you guys get to hear it? I think it was like Fallen Star or something.
Did you listen?
Was it the one with Jesse like only singing in the beginning?
No, I don't know.
Okay,
I don't remember,
well,
actually.
the most recent one that Jesse released was really bad. Not my opinion, but it was just like, I don't know, it felt very much like it wasn't like Neighborhood, so I felt like it was just off in that sense that like I hadn't like listened to just him in general. But like he has a single with like that's called Changing Shapes or something like that. Is so good. So I think like also like I think that's just showing that Jesse also wants to like know more about who he is as an artist, maybe.
Maybe. But either he's creating the new artist that he is. Hopefully we get the Neighborhood soon. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Back to the host.
Thank you guys. That was very insightful. We have to cut to commercial, so stay tuned.
Welcome back. Let's tune into Samaya, Jimena, and Melody, who are going to showcase their favorite international artists.
What's up, guys? So we're actually going to be talking about our favorite international artists today. So what are some international artists that you guys really like?
I could use this whole segment to talk about Stromae. So in 2013, Stromae, who is a Belgian artist, he sings in French, he dropped an absolute no-skip album. It was like a French, Belgian dance pop album. Bassin Carré. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I do not speak French. But it was so good. But then he just like disappeared. And he just like dropped off the face of the earth. I guess he had like a fashion line or something. I don't know what happened.
Interesting.
But all of a sudden he's come back now and he's dropping an album this Friday.
Are you so
And he-
excited?
Yes.
Yeah.
I am very excited.
You're living your
He
best
dropped,
life.
And he dropped or I think technically 2 singles from this album. And the latest one is called L'Enfer. It's so beautiful. Like, it sounds like something from the Euphoria soundtrack. It's a really sad song.
That's how you know it's
but
good.
No.
Like, his music is very, like, you know, you want to dance to it, but the real lyrics are actually, like, really dark. And,
Oh,
like,
yes,
sinister.
exactly.
If you like music like that, you have to listen to Stromae.
Yeah, because there's this artist, her name is Yoasobi. It's actually like a duo between a Vocaloid producer named Ayase and then a singer named Ikaru. And so they have this song called Into the Night, and it's actually like a very dark song, but like it's very pop-like, and it's just like it's very upbeat. But like the lyrics are very dark because all of their songs are based off of like real books, like they're based off of novels. So it's really cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah, they're a Japanese duo.
Really? Okay.
Awesome. I gotta listen to that.
Yeah,
No,
for
literally,
sure.
that sounds so
Any of their
cool.
songs are really good.
Some of like Hispanic artists, like international, is Rosalia.
Oh, I love
Rosalia is like so good. She like came out with a new song, Soako, or something like that.
I've not heard about
And it's so good. It like just like encompasses basically like her transformation from like just like being like a Spanish artist, whatever, and like just going and like her now collaborating with like Bad Bunny,
Right.
and like just like come on.
Oh, Bad Bunny, yes.
But just like we see her like coming up and just like I don't know, just showing like her heritage behind all of her music too. Like her music is like behind like Mariposa, like Me Transformo como una mariposa. Like it's so good.
That's beautiful.
Literally, like, and it just like comes from like what you guys said, like really like we see it from like such a like a face point of view, I guess. But like it like the lyrics are so like powerful that the artists are like evoking within their music.
Right. I feel like that's really cool because like you don't really know what a lot of the times like if you listen to like international people you don't know what they're saying. But like I feel like you can just like feel it like through the music. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't really matter if you don't hear what they're saying.
No, literally, it was so good. And another artist is like BF7. I found her whenever I was like going on Instagram. I was like going through like Premios Juventud. And like I saw her and I was like, wait, she dresses so good, and she just caught my attention. And she's like only 15.
Oh really?
But there's like she's only 15. She's Puerto Rican, I think, and she's so good. She is right now. She's like kind of underground, I guess, but like she's literally like a Premios Juventud. Like you're not like.
Right.
Like she's doing it, and I think it's so like cool that we're seeing like also like Kali Uchis. Like she's been the one that's been building that bridge of like kind of getting like Latin artists into American music, which has been so cool.
I love that.
But
that's so cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool. Yeah, anyways, so this was actually all the time that we had for the International Artist segment. So moving back to the host.
Wow, those artists sound really good. I'll have to check them out. Mia is going to dive into her analysis on Car Seat Headrest's album Twin Fantasy, which was released 4 years ago last month.
Twin Fantasy, Car Seat Headrest's most celebrated albums and a prime leader of the 2010s indie rock scene, was released 4 years ago this month in 2018. But the initial writing of this masterpiece occurred nearly a decade earlier by the lead singer in his college dorm. Though this re-recording situation is far from rare among artists, the lyricisms and themes presented within the album portray such a visceral, passionate story that deems Will Toledo's revision of it that more profound and philosophical, evident by the differences in lyrics between the two albums. Twin Fantasy tells a raw story of gay love, specifically between two depressed individuals in a long-distance relationship. The opening track, My Boy, Twin Fantasy, introduces us to the adverse physical distance between the two, repeatedly emphasizing, my boy, we don't see each other much, to later, but somewhere down the line, we won't be alone. Expressing shared loneliness and foreshadowing a song further in the album that accounts their troubling dependency on each other. A 1-minute acoustic song follows the second track, before approaching my favorite song from the album, what I believe to be the most agonizing, Sober to Death. Embodying their relationship so perfectly, Toledo offered not a single modification from the original, an artistic choice I praise, as each line affirms the feeling of being queer, depressed, and so madly in love. The chorus begins with, take your hands off your neck and hold on to the ghost of my body, possibly insinuating an attempt to prevent his lover from self-harming, while emphasizing his own mental torment by offering whatever is left of his ravaged self. Although the distance inhibits them, they remain each other's sole source of warmth, love, and admittedly, life purpose. The chorus meets its finale with we were wrecks before we crashed into each other. To describe their romantic unification as a crash just so epiphany represents their painfully flawed love affair. Serving as a reference to the first track, the song's ending sums up the thesis of the entire album, stating, don't worry, you and me won't be alone no more. Repeated 8 times, each time being more passion-driven than the last. The original Nervous Young and Humans provides much more insight into their fatiguing romance. The most significant lyric from the 2011 version that is actually redacted from the newer one writes, I like you as a character. I'm pretending that I know a lot more about you than I actually do. Followed by the song's conclusion. This is the part of the song where I start to regret writing it. The muttered monologue that contains both lyrics mentioned is replaced in the 2018 version by a speech that instead meets its ending with, isn't this where? These 3 words represent Toledo's growth as a person since his initial writing, indicating that he no longer deplores the words he once dedicated, rather displays acceptance for his past experience of love. The final song off Twin Fantasy, Those Boys, is the embodiment of the album's decade-long rebirth, detailing Toledo's acceptance of a love that no longer is, that can forever live in his memory and in his music. Before the outro, he speaks, "This is the end of the song, and it is just a song. This is a version of me and you that can exist outside of everything else. And if it is just a fantasy, then anything can happen from here. The contract is up, the names have been changed, so pour one out, whoever you are. These are only lyrics now." These old songs are a personification of an intensity he no longer feels, but he acknowledges that this art can mean something completely different from what it once did. These are only lyrics. Oh, okay. Thank you.
That album sounds really good. I'm gonna have to give it a listen. After this break, we'll discuss hyperpop and have another cozy corner, so stay tuned. Let's check out what Dorian and Jimena have to say about the growth of hyperpop.
Hello, I'm Jimena. We're going to be talking about hyperpop. So initially we wanted to let y'all know what kind of hyperpop is about. So it kind of is very much like about experimental sound design and like early 2010s EDM music, like kind of all that together with pop, if that makes sense to y'all. So yeah, some qualities are...
Yeah, so like some of the like craziest and like the best things about hyperpop is that like it's not really just like one sound. It's kind of this combination of sounds and like deconstructions of different sounds. There's not like a limit on like what makes hyperpop what it is. It's more like just this community that's making like really fun music together.
Yes.
Yeah, so Sophie was a UK artist, and she kind of started like what is like hyperpop in like 2015 and kind of like established like the genre at the beginning. And also just like started this influence of like trans artists within the genre that like hasn't been seen in like other genres. Like there's like Dorian Electra and like Laura Less of 100 Gex, and so yeah, it's just like really cool to see all these like different artists in one genre.
Yeah, it gives people like be able to be seen like on screen through music, things that everyone like listens to on a daily, and it's very much representation on like what you do. Another artist that is from the UK as well, that has very much influence and kind of brought into America hyperpop is Charlie XCX. She did Vroom Vroom. I died. No, I literally died. Like, after that album, like, I was gone. But she was a like established artist. She was someone that was able to like bring in that new genre into America after like Sophie like had just inspired all of this, like you said.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and then like, you know, like 100 Gex had their little thing, and they kind of like helped establish like the genre in the US and like make that popular here. And so yeah, I just think that like it's really cool how like it's spread like so much, and the community has just grown like crazy, you know, because of like TikTok and like just all types of media. It's just really cool. And then like Drain Gang it's been around since like 2013, but just like Blade and like Echo 2K and Taiwo Digital, like they've all just kind of like created this community, and like with their like little group, it's just like their community and like followers have just like completely made this genre and established more artists within it.
Yeah, and like one of example is like very much a TikTok sound that I like listened to a lot was iPhone by Rico. It was produced by 100 Gex, and it was like so good. It was like different from what Rico had like done in the past. And yeah, this entire genre is very much a new genre.
Yeah. I'm so excited for hyperpop and like what it has to come, but that's all the time we have today. So back to the studio. That was super interesting. To close the show, we have Lily with her thoughts on the recent Sarah and the Sundays concert. Let's tune in.
Hey, welcome back to the Cozy Corner. So I'm going to be talking about the Sarah and the Sundays concert I went to 2 weeks ago. It was on Valentine's Day, which was very exciting. They had like a very Valentine's theme. The main singer of Sarah and the Sundays actually came out in like this bright red dress, which everybody loved. But anyway, Sarah and the Sundays is one of my favorite bands of all times. They're actually from Austin, and they're an indie artist, and they're slowly rising. Right now they're actually on tour with the Happy Fits, but since Austin is their hometown and it was Valentine's Day, they had their own special show. and it was at Empire Control Room, which if you haven't been there, it's a very intimate venue, but it's very fun, and especially if you're a fan of the artist seeing and you're at Empire, it's really great because you like get to be really up close and personal with the artists, and yeah, I loved the venue. So Olive Vox opened up for them actually, and they're also a band from Texas. They're from Dallas. They were a lot more like hard rock vibes and very different from Sarah and the Sundays, but I'm definitely listening to them a lot more now. They were a really fun band. They were interacting with the crowd a whole bunch, and they were a great opener. And Sarah and the Sundays were amazing. I mean, of course I knew they were going to be amazing, but they put on a really great show, interacting with the fans. They were even like throwing out guitar picks and like making jokes, taking pictures with people up front. They even dedicated a song to one of the fans. They had like a contest, and one of the fans got one of the songs dedicated to them, and they got to go up on stage, got serenaded by the band. So that was really cool. They played all my favorite songs like I'm So Bored, Vices, and you guys should really go check them out if you haven't seen Sarah and the Sundays. And the encore was really great. When they went off stage, everybody just kept chanting encore, encore. And they came back and they played Love Story by Taylor Swift, which was really fun, in honor of Valentine's Day, of course. And the whole crowd was just screaming the song, and it was a really great time. And then, of course, the last song they played was Moving On, which is their biggest song, and that's kind of what brought them to fame. And it was really great. I actually got to meet both of the bands afterwards, since it was kind of a smaller venue. We got to go up and say hi. I got to meet Liam, the head singer of Sarah and the Sundays, and I took a picture with him, and he was really sweet. And I got to take a picture with Olive Vox. They were really cool too, and they even signed a poster for me, which I now have up in my dorm room. And it was a great show. Definitely, it was kind of weird going to a concert on a Monday, but the vibes were really great. And my brother actually introduced me to Sarah and the Sundays, I'd say about a year and a half ago, and I've loved them ever since. So it was really great to be able to see them in their hometown, one of my favorite bands, and that's one of the great things about Austin Underground is I get to have so many cool experiences, and I get to meet so many of my favorite bands. We actually got to interview them too. Two of our staff members, Nastasia and Livia, got to interview them. That's up on our website right now and up on our YouTube, so if you want to go check that out, we aired that on the show last week too. Yeah, but it was a great time. You guys should go check out Sarah and the Sundays and all the stuff we did with them. So thank you, and back to our hosts.
Sounds like the show was a lot of fun. We would now like to recognize an important member of our AU community.
We would like to recognize Jimena for her hard work on the show. Here you go.
Yay!
She's right here.
Thanks so much, guys. That's it for us. Make sure to follow us on AU on Twitter, Instagram, and be sure to check out our website. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye!